Hey friends, welcome back. Today we're going to do Wraith of God, issue number 1 by Empire Comics. This comic is made by Aaron Lopresti, who is, in my opinion, one of the greats in the comics industry. He did a lot of great, cool-looking comic books, and now he decided to make a comic on his own called this one, Wraith of God. Looking great, 72 pages, successfully crowdfunded, a lot of backers. He made... Let me double check because I have it here in front of me. I got it in euros. So let's say, 6 figures. Over $100,000, 2,665 backers. That's awesome. That's awesome. Also, I got this cover. This is cover B. This cover B is, this variant cover. I like this because it reminds me of the comics of yesteryear when comics were great. And I'm not saying there's not good comics right now, but I'm a guy from the 90s. I just like those comics more. Those comics were, in my opinion, way more fun. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk to you about what's happening in this comic. It's going to be a long video. There's going to be a lot of spoilers. Beware. And if you like this video, share, subscribe to my channel and all that jazz, if you like. Let's dive in. Also, I'm going to skip a few pages because, well, if I'm going to, talk about 72 pages page by page, it's going to be an even longer video. So we're getting really quick introduced by our, main hero, the Wraith or Wraith of God. Oh, wait, I'm forgetting. It's written, created, and illustrated by Aaron Lopresti, colors by Gabe Altayeb, lettering by Warren Montgomery. Also, Dale Keown is involved. You know Dale Keown from Pitt, and the Hulk, awesome. And special shout out to his wife Shelley Lopresti. Hope you are feeling better, Shelley. Good health to you. Okay. So the Wraith here is hunting. He's hunting these guys, killing them, burning them to death when he has killed them, and they have a tattoo on their hands called the Brotherhood of the Wolf. Well, you can see what's happening here. These are, what do you call it? Lycanthropes? Is that how you say it? Let's call them just werewolves. Let's not complicate things. And the werewolf attacks him, and he shoots the bullets in him. Wait a minute. I'm going a little bit too quick. This is not in this particular page. Well, he's battling these werewolves, and the werewolf says, "You can't kill me with the knife." And he says, "Let's find out." So he stabs him, and he says, "My blade says otherwise." When the werewolf says, "I tear you to pieces." He says, "Silver, forged in holy water, blessed with Franciscan monks, monk on Christmas Day." I like particularly this sequence because it stabs him. The werewolf is in pain. Here's the part that I believe he died. I mean, you can also, that the color has changed, making it more dramatic. I like that a lot. And here's the part that he just, collapsing. Still, if he's alive, but I don't think so, is in pain. Great stuff. But one of the werewolves is escaping, and the Wraith is, gonna hunt him, or it. And then we meet another woman. Well, not another woman. This is the first woman in this comic, I'm sorry. She's called Esther. But before we go into this particular scene, I wanted to show you that, this lycanthrope is escaping. He also killed his trusty steed, Gabriel. And then he's burning all the corpses. And look at this. The horses look incredibly detailed. Also love the gashes or the wounds on his neck, with the slashes here. Looks freaking fantastic. Also, Aaron has a knack for detail that I really, really appreciate because I'm a detail guy. I love detail. I love backgrounds. And as you can see here, there's a lot to unpack here. What's here? is been showing on screen. You know, we have garlic, crosses, silver, lots of weapons, even an axe with runes. So I wonder what's that's going to be used, maybe for something in the future. I don't know. And she's here, I believe. Yeah, she's reading the Holy Bible, and she is, helping, or is basically the servant of the Wraith. And there's a reason for that, and I'm going to explain it a little bit later. And but the Wraith is not really how do you say, very nice to her. He's very demanding. He is. She says, Esther says, "Where's your horse? Where's Gabriel? Dead. One of the wolves escaped. You should have let me come. I could have helped." And he says, "Clean this knife. Save the blood. It may be prove useful. Ready the wagon. We have a long trip ahead of us." And she says, "Where are we going?" "Calamity, Arizona." Okay, so she is, they're riding the wagon to Calamity, and then we see here Wraith unmask, brooding in his, I don't know, his chamber. There's also a lot of stuff in here. She says, "Wraith," and then he immediately is on top. I believe he can teleport, but I'm not entirely sure. It's a little bit unclear what his powers are. It's not really explained in this comic, but you don't always have to. You can figure it out for yourself. And he says, "What is it? There. Can it be Gabriel?" No, of course it's not Gabriel. Gabriel is dead. But then he approaches the steed, touches him, and his eyes turn red. And Wraith says, "It is Gabriel." And his eyes are filled with the Lord's vengeance. The dialogue is great, man. But Esther cannot believe her eyes. He says, "I don't understand. You said he was dead." "He was. God brought him back." "Wraith, it can't be Gabriel. It must be a stray." But his eyes, "Do not doubt me. Do not doubt my word, ever." "Drive the wagon. We have no time to lose." And then she is seeing all these wonders in front of her, and she cannot help but, believe what Wraith is saying to her. And she also says it must be God's will. Yeah, maybe. Maybe not. We go to somewhere else. I mean, this is in 1883, by the way. So the sheriff is in town. There's a new sheriff in town, and he is approaching this guy called Orrin Hull. And Orrin is let's say, a seclusive guy. And the sheriff does not like seclusive guys, because seclusive guys or people has something to hide, and it makes the people nervous. So Orrin says, "Hey, I just want to be left alone." The sheriff says, "Hey, maybe we can help each other out, He says, "What do you want, Sheriff?" says Orrin. "An incentive to look the other way," he says. "I learned a long time ago to solve problems before they start. Keep things simple and easy. You make it worth my while, and you can stay up here till hell freezes over. No interference, no problems." Okay, what are you hiding, Sheriff? But Orrin, is it Orrin? Let me double check. Orrin, yes. Orrin says, "Listen, I don't want any trouble. Just leave me alone." And the sheriff goes away, but basically threatens him a little bit. So says, I lock your door. Tomorrow night's the full moon. Strange things can happen." Okay. Meanwhile, maybe I shouldn't show you too much, but since I'm doing the review, let's go all in. Why not? So it seems that Esther and the Wraith are, hiding in this mine just a little bit outside of the town. And he says, "Rest if you must, but I have work." He says, "What work?" "Stay in this outer area. Do not disturb me. My name is Esther. You know that. Why can't you say it? Why can't you ever say it?" And he doesn't say anything. It just goes away. And "I used to spend my life," she says, "helping and praying for others. Now it seems I only pray for myself." Then we have a flashback years ago when she met a guy, and she's working for the Salvation Army, and his name is Jacob, and Jacob is very what is the word, infatuated? Is that how you Americans say that? by Esther, and he declares his love to her, but she is a little bit overwhelmed, and says, "Well, I'm not ready yet for this." She says, "Oh, I have to go back. I have much work to do. Maybe you come by later and walk me home." Of course, he says, and then that's exactly what he's going to do. So he's going to the Salvation Army and talk to the kids, etc. But then somehow fire breaks out, and Jacob says, "You get the people out. I will tend to the fire." And she is very concerned towards Jacob, and she says, "Hurry!" And then she is, she's going outside and getting all these people out. She's, there's an explosion, and she's falling, and she screams Jacob because Jacob is still in there. And then out of nowhere, "The wraith of God is here. Take my hand. God has sent me to serve you. But we must save Jacob. It's too late for him. Too late for anyone but you." There's a lot of tone shifting. And then they are escaping the fire. And she says, "I lost the love of my life that night, but gained a greater purpose." Then we go to town, and then we see an old man approaching the sheriff. And he says, "I'm supposed to meet someone, but I ain't sure where to start looking." "That's your problem," says the sheriff. And he says, "Maybe I was wondering if maybe they came in on that stagecoach this morning." And then he suddenly says, "A gambler, a smart-dressed Oriental, and a working girl." Okay, and then the old guy says, "Okay, I'm just gonna look for them." Now, I didn't know what a stage coach is. I still don't know. Maybe you have to look that up. But it seems that is, I don't know, a wagon full of people. I don't know what that is. Skipping a few pages here and there. Well, I cannot skip this one because this is important. Let's say not too important, but it is important. Maybe I should stop yapping. So this guy is approaching Oren, and he is Yemen Chen. He's working for the Bright Light Museum in New England. Basically, long story short, he wants something that Oren has. He tells Oren that he knows who he is and that he was a monster hunter. And a couple of years ago, he disappeared and take an artifact with him. And that artifact is very valuable, if you can say. It possesses the power to, if a werewolf has it in its possession, while in its bestial form, it's impervious to death. So he wants it, and then basically wants to bribe him and says, "Hey, if you can give me the amulet, I can make you a rich guy." And Oren says, "Just get out of here, leave me alone." We also switch to the bar where this gambler guy is here, and also this working girl. So this old man approaches the bar guy, the bartender, and he says that this gambler is winning a lot. And then this working girl comes to the old timer and want to take advantage of him, buying her drinks. But the bartender sends her away and says, "Hey, this is a respectable place. Go back to your whorehouse and do your thing, but leave this establishment." Okay, cool. Then we go back to the cave, the mine, I mean. And this is what I find interesting. Because it seems the wraith was the old guy. And this particular part reminds me a little bit of, maybe you remember it, but there was a time that Bruce Wayne, Batman, changes into some kind of an alter ego called Matches Malone. A playboy has also matches, always flip that match on, And then, he's infiltrating, criminal organizations or getting information from people. This reminds me of that. And I like that a lot. I also like the fact that he really portrays as an old man, walking a little bit crooked and, small, unimportant, maybe a little bit invisible. Nicely done. So the wraith goes out again. Esther is here, and she wants to help. He says, "You can help me by guarding my work. I'm close to unlocking the creature's secret. This cave must be protected. Stay alert. The beast will be out." Poor Esther. But so he goes to Orm, but he's it's too late. The werewolf is already here and stole the amulet. And Orm says, "Help me!" While his belly is ripped open and he's losing blood a lot. So there's a cool fight scene coming, and I must say, I mean, I've been talking a lot about the story, which I must, because it's my review. The art is incredible. I knew that Arrow was good, but I'm not saying this really quickly, but I believe this is his, and this is not me sucking up, I believe this could be his magnus opus, if you can call it that. I may be exaggerating here, but this is really, really good when it comes to art and composition and flow of the story, because we go back and forth. There's a little bit, resting time in between, and then it ramps up into, atmosphere and action, and a lot of, secrets being revealed through this comic that I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes. Really good. So he shoots the werewolf, and he says, "Silver bullets," says the Wraith. "Expensive way to get the job done. I have to remember to dig those out before I burn your carcass." I love the dialogue, because there's not a hint of, bad humor or, humor in general in here. Maybe a small tidbits here, but it's not, this cringe humor that you see in modern day comics. And it's just great stuff. It's just pure serious, business that Wraith, has in mind, because he's the Wraith of God. He's a servant. But then the werewolf laughs at him and he says, "Know your adversary, fool." And he spits out the silver bullets. He says, "Death can't touch me as long as I hold this. Noted." And he throws his knife into his arm. And then, the werewolf releases. And then he catches the amulet, but the werewolf escapes. He's gone. And Oren here, bleeding to death, says, "Hey, Hull, you still alive? Do you have the amulet?" "Yes. It only protects them in a bestial form. When they are human, they are vulnerable." "Understood. Burn my remains. I can become one of them. Keep the amulet safe. Always." Awesome. I mean, look at this art, man. It's just great. And this is in the dark. I mean, it's great stuff. So yeah, Rafe is, burning the corpse, and then the sheriff comes up to him and he says, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And the Rafe says, "Hey, it's conveniently that you are late, and then maybe you should give me what you took from Oren." Something like that, says the sheriff. And that's not what he's gonna do. "I don't have time for you," Rafe says. He says, but then he uses his mojo, his powers, and I'm not sure if he's teleporting using the mist or that he is just go around the mist, but he knocks the sheriff out. And then we get his origin. And his origin is back in the day when he was, working for in the circus, and he was the unimaginable Dr. Mystery. Yeah, spoiler here, Dr. Mystery is the Wraith. Okay? And he is, playing tricks, and there's this woman here, and she is the boss's wife, and he says, "Hey, where did you learn all that?" And he says, "Well, a very wise Chinese mystic traveling with a small circus. That was ages ago." And then he's using his tricks to change his eyes. But then this woman is, seducing him, because she says, "There's a month's worth of gate receipts and enough gold in my husband's safe to give a girl a new start with the right man. A man with the talent to crack a safe. A man like you." And okay. She's playing him, of course. I mean, yeah. So he's going to do a disguise. He's going to open up the safe. He's being caught by the boss. And there is Esther behind him. And he says, "Wait, can't you see? It's Smith, our very own master of disguise, Dr. Mystery." And he says, "What? Mr. Smith, are you insane after all I've done for you? Listen, Mr. Talbot, please let me explain. Put the gold back in the safe." Sure. Give me a second. So he's going to do that. But then this woman shoots her husband in the back, killing him and, framing him for the murder. And well, Dr. Mystery, let's call him that. What the hell are you doing? We're both gonna hang for this. You'll be dead long before that. And she's throwing the lamp on the floor, and everything is catching fire. The safe is fireproof, she says. You, I'm afraid, are not. She's devious. And then, so she's going out, she says, help, help. And telling everybody that her husband is dead, and then Dr. Mystery is the murderer, and he's, etc. And she said, I did all I could. And then this is happening. He's escaping while burning, as you can see here. And then takes a horse, and he is, miles away from the circus. He is coming to, I believe, a church or a cloister. And he's being held by two brothers, or one brother of the two. He is nursing him. They are nursing him back to health. And they don't want to know what's happened to him. They just say that he is safe here, under the guise of the Lord, or something like that. Then this is happening. And again, coming back to Batman, remember that time, if you remember that the Joker, when he was thrown into, or, falling into the vat of chemicals, and his face was, all disfigured. And he does basically exactly the same as what's happening here, but then instead of, being shocked, he went insane and laughing, and he became the Joker at that point. This is basically the opposite. Instead of, going insane, he is feeling miserable and depressive, and he drinks himself to sleep. And then out of nowhere, he gets a visitor. He is visited by an angel, and the angel says that he is, has a job for, let's call him Brave from now on. You must visit the wrath of the justice on the evil that plagues this land. No longer will the devil's minions roam free and uninhabited. Not sure what that word means. Also like that he's, instead of coming with angels, he has, lions with him. Looks really cool. And he says, how? Why me? The talents and skills you have mastered will serve you well. Your infirmity makes you stronger, and the power of the Almighty will propel you. Hide your identity and search out the evil that abides in the darkness of your world and terrifies man. Fear nothing anymore, and deliver the wrath of God. It's just awesome stuff. Going back to the present, he cracked the code, I believe. So he goes to Esther, and he says, Esther, I isolated the marker from the wolf's blood, an antidote, perhaps a cure. Incredible. What can I do? Stay here. No point of arguing, I suppose. Before you go, she hands him over I believe it was not an amulet, but it was a cross, a silver cross. And he says, there is no such thing as luck. he's skipping a few pages. Yeah, let's do that. So he is going back, disguising as an old man, and he wants to challenge this gambler. And so everybody's, taps out, and only he remains against this gambler. And he says, well, I don't got no money anymore. And, seeing too much. And he says, well, I can, give you this, for one more match. And he says, looks valuable. All right, throw it in. Then I call. So they're having a, I don't know, how do you say it? It's not a match, a game. Let's call it a game. And the gambler says, haha, sorry, old timer, you put up a good fight, 3 aces. And then it says, I can't believe it. Full house. So he wins. And he says, what are you going to do now? He says, I'm going to step outside of the town limits and procure some female company. Hot damn, now that's an idea, man. If I join you, I'll lead the way. And so they're going to the whorehouse. And so this woman takes this old man in, and you can see what's happening, because he was a little bit, well, she doesn't want to do it, but then he showed her the amulet, and she says, "Oh well, that's gonna be valuable one day." And he turns into the wraith, and he says, "God has sent me. Time to pay for your sins." And I thought to myself, "What? Why? What has she done?" And then out of nowhere, the werewolf jumps in through the wall. Again, looks so freaking cool, man. Time to pay for your sins with blood. And then we have a freaking cool action scene, and I'm going to show you everything. So again, so he rips him, well, not rips him apart, but so they're having a fight, and the werewolf says, "Your overconfidence will be your end. Now give me the amulet." And he says, "No." And the werewolf is way more stronger than the wraith, and he also destroys his guns, and he, takes his knife out again. He says, "Yeah, I've seen that knife before, and my brothers took you too lightly." And but that doesn't stop the werewolf. The werewolf jumps in, bites his arm, beats him to death. He says, "You have no silver left. Accept your fate." It's just awesome. And but they are going outside of the whorehouse, and the werewolf says, "Give me the amulet, and I will kill you quickly. No suffering. I've given you my answer." And here it is again. It's just using the axe and the what's this called? Wood? No, trunk. I'm not entirely sure, but you see what's happening here on screen. It's just looking great. And he wants to behead him. That's gonna fail too, because the werewolf attacks him again, and he says, "Your threats are hollow. Your wounds are slowing you down. You're finished." Before we go any further, I love the fact that this sounds weird, but I love the fact that the wraith is getting his ass handed to him. Why? Because it tells a story that the wraith, although he's a servant of God, he's not invincible. He's not like in modern day comics. There's 2 pages of fight scene, or maybe 1, and then the show is over, and then the good guys have won. No, he's here almost dying because this enemy is way too powerful for him. I love that. I love that. He's being wounded. He is being, getting his ass kicked. And the wraith is overconfident, but he's not powerless because he was using this power. Not sure what it is. He says, "Embrace the light of God." Probably, I'm not sure if that's just an energy beam or just pure light. And then he uses his smoke powers again, which looks really cool. He says, "My eyes, I can't see." And then your vision is about to get worse. And I expected a better strategy from an experienced gambler. Spoiler, yes, this is the gambling guy. And he plunges the cross into his eyes, wounding and blinding him. And the gambler werewolf is immensely pain. He says, "Silver, I can feel it poisoning my soul." And then Wraith says something quippy. He says, "But like our last hand of poker, you should have folded." And he chops off his head. And I thought to myself, "Oh man, this is so great. This is awesome. What a great ending." No. Because there's another one. And it's the prostitute. And he's getting his bag ripped open. And she said, "I'm not much of a gambler, but I like any strategy." And she's thanking him for killing not really an enemy, but now she has the amulet for herself. She says, I met them on the way, and she talks about the other werewolves. Many clans want that amulet. We agreed to work together, but I have my own plans. And then she's taking the amulet. She says, now I'm invincible. And then he jabs the antidote into her body, and she's reverting back to normal because he says, "What have you done to me?" she says. "A serum. It blocks the lycanthropic elements in your blood. I have made you human again. I have made you vulnerable again." And then she says, "No, I will kill you before you can." And then she's being shot by Esther. I told you I could help. Yeah, you did, Esther. You did a great job. A very good job. But before she can do anything to help Rafe, the sheriff comes in and he says, well, give me the amulet. And but she has no choice. You're in no position to worry about it because, well, he's bleeding to death here. And she says, what are you going to do? He says, nothing. I guess I'm not the only one here with a past. I would rather not have that dug up. Calling in the judge or a federal marshal would only complicate my life. Besides, what would I tell them? Yeah, again, this sheriff has a dark past. I wonder if we're going to see it in volume 2, maybe volume 3. I don't know. I just like to see it. So he says, now going to help your friends, otherwise he's going to die. Now we reaching the end of the book, but it's not over yet, because there's something important here, and that's something that I want to talk to you about. So he's demanding stuff from Esther. My wounds needs to be cleaned with holy water and cauterized, and there's another vial of antidote on my medical table. Hurry! And she says, Esther. He says, what? My name. Say it. There's no time for this foolishness. I have helped you without question. I attended to your every need. I have served you thinking I was serving God. Tonight I'm killed for you. You told me you were an angel of God, and I believed you. But here you are bleeding, dying like any other man. Finally, you truly needed my help, but you can't even show the slightest modicum of respect. And he says, stop it. I saved you. You are my servant. Jesus saved me, and I only serve God only. I've been prepared for death since that night you saved me from the fire. What about you? Are you prepared to die? Are you ready to face judgment? And he says, no. Man, this is so great. This is really powerful. And so she asks to him, who are you? And he says, we have known each other a very, very long time. I'm Jacob. And she immediately tears up. He says, Jacob died in a fire. And she said, yeah, that's true. But he says, I was still formulating a plan to carry out my mission. A vision from God told me what I had to do, just not how to do it. That's when I first saw you. I was drawn to you, almost divinely. I cannot explain it. And he says that he's being, disguising himself as Jacob to get closer to her. And I devised a plan where I staged my own death and then appeared as the wraith to save you. If we couldn't be together the way I truly wanted, then we could still be together as your slave. You manipulated me, lied to me, used me.